From LALATE News headquarters in Santa Monica, this is the Midday Report on LALATE.
It's a big midday here on LALATE with incredible great news about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021 today. In this recording, we go over a ton of breaking news happening in due time. We'll go over that monthly stimulus check and why those Democrats will likely give you more months of checks. We'll go over the recon and why there's $3.5 trillion of checks for you in this fourth stimulus package. It's incredible great news. Then we go over the vote, the bill, the dates, everything you need to know about what's happening next week, this week, and what happened over the weekend. It's all happening and being revealed on New Time. And then we cut to the big money across the board. It's fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up if you're on SSI, SSDI, or VA benefits. And then we cut to the big money across the board. $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 that viewers continue to get. I'm going to show you how you get this money as well. It's a big noontime. It's a big day. Let's get to the breaking news starting right here, right now on LALATE. Good noontime, everybody. How you doing? How's the weather where you are? I'm back. It's great to be back. And boy, how's the weather where you are? It got cooler here in LA. Really dropping still in the middle of the day. The weather's dropping, so I'm loving it. Cool onshore breeze, not too particularly sunny outside, so it's absolute paradise here in Santa Monica. Jump in the live chat and tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. In this fourth stimulus check update of 2021, just a lot of breaking news, all incredible. We'll go over that monthly stimulus check and how many checks the Democrats may be giving you in view of the pandemic not being over. Then we cut to the recon, $3.5 trillion. We have an agreement. We have a deal. $3.5 trillion is the price tag, and there's $3.5 trillion of checks in there for you. I'll go over what those checks are and how they are for so many groups of people. Spoiler alert, they're for a lot of groups of people on this channel. And then we cut to the voting process, the two bills, the two votes, the two dates that you need to know and what's going on next week. And then we cut to the big money that viewers continue to get, like $5,000, $10,000, $15,000, or Nisi, who got $23,000 for this channel. It's your day to get as well. And this is LALATE, America's only 24-hour day, 7 days a week financial news channel in America. Live in the morning like right now and taped in the afternoon, so subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. Next stop, 1 million. 400,000 in 1 year. I want you part of this channel and part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. The link is in the top of the under the video. Hit that link, like link right now, and consider becoming a member. Let's cut in right to that monthly stimulus check starting right now. You know, today is different here in LA. You know why it's different? You have to wear a mask. The mask mandate is back in Los Angeles. In March of last year, this city was the first in the country to mask mandate. And then 2 weeks ago, we started to hear that potentially it would be voluntary. Now it's mandatory. Even if vaccinated, you have to wear a mask indoors, which is because the pandemic's not over. House bill, pandemic plus 1 year. Senate proposal, July to December. Monthly stimulus checks. Let's go over the payouts on those monthly stimulus checks. House, $1,000 after the first month of $2,000. Senate amount unknown, but word on the street is it's this. Deliciousness. $2,000 over 6 months, $12,000, or $1,400 over 6 months, $8,400. It was no less than 2 weeks ago that we said maybe the pandemic's not over for legislative purposes. Well, that's no longer the case, with Republicans and liberals all saying the pandemic is not over. Over 50 states are showing a surge of COVID cases right today. And with the pandemic not over, the House bill would pay pandemic plus 1 year, which is more than 12 months. That's more than $13,000. Compare that to this and the Senate. I think you have an opinion. Jump in the live chat right now. Vote House or Senate. House or Senate. Tell me where you're tuning in from and how's the weather. I want to see you voting right now. House or Senate, and tell me how the weather is and tell me where you're tuning in from. Everything changed really quickly, and that's what happens with this channel. Things change by the minute. Who gets this fourth stimulus check? Democrats represent that if you got a third, you get a fourth. They want you to have one as well. Single individual, 75,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Married couple, 150,000 or less. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Double it. Family of four. Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. Quadruple it. And if you're on benefits, Democrats want you to have a fourth stimulus check. SSI, SSDI, veterans, SSA, all across the board. The fourth stimulus check is not income. It's not taxable. The fourth stimulus check would be the same amount for everyone. Congratulations, yes. And the fourth stimulus check would not come in waves. It's not a waivable check. So if you do see the check again tonight at the casino, I saw him last night at the casino, and you see the check on the front lawn when Sirloin is eating the lawn, and you say, hey, check, how you doing? And the check is double fisting. And you say, oh, you got yogurt. Is that spiked $12 ice cream? And the check sort of waving back and forth, say, hey, check, and the check don't wave back. Rude check. No, it's just having some spiked $12 ice cream. And it's getting a little too wavy. So it's the check says back, I'm not a waivable check. Rude check. The check would come in the month of July for the month of July. And in the month of August for the month of August, those Democrats represent, they can still get it done. In the second part of this video, we'll be going over the $3.5 trillion deal. It's a deal. You're getting $3.5 trillion of checks. I'll go over what those $3.5 trillion of checks are for. Spoiler alert, it's for you. A lot of $3.5 trillion of checks for you. That's the recon. We'll be going over all the details you need to know. Then, in the third part of this video, we'll be going over the recon and the bipartisan and the vote and the bills and the dates and what Chuck's doing on Tuesday and what he's not doing on Tuesday. It's the most informative Final 15. We call it the Final 15 on this channel. Final 15 minutes. But first, here's a preview of the second half of this video. It's fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up with a big lift that you were promised in the campaign trail for presidency. You're going to see that happen in the fall. I have all the incredible details coming up later in this video. But let's get some money. I am so excited for you. You're doing an incredible, great job. The viewers of this channel are getting enormous sums of money because of the videos. If you got in rent, post in the live chat right now. If you got in utilities, post in the live chat. If you got in SNAP, post in the live chat. I had initially said in these videos that I can get you $5,000 for rent, 4 to 6 months of rent. Viewers now are daily getting $12,000 for rent. Nisi got $20,000 for rent because of the videos of this channel. $23,000 total across the board. For utilities, I said, hey, I can get you $300 from these videos. Viewers are getting $3,000. And when we talk about SNAP, I said, hey, I can get you $5,000 to $6,000 because I got for a couple of viewers for SNAP. Viewers like John are getting $10,000 to $12,000 for SNAP. Get that pen and paper ready because I'm going to go over all this big money for you. And this is what this channel does. This is not a tracking channel. We're cashing checks. In April of last year, I launched this channel because people were not getting their EIDL loan or EIDL grant check. There was nothing to track. I had to get it for them, and I got it. $25 million of it for viewers across the board. And then in fall of 2020, people needed money. And second stimulus, there was nothing to track. The check wasn't going. And I got viewers $250,000 of rent. Viewers like Tyrone, his family of four, paid all their bills for rent all the way to the spring, $15,000. But now the difference is you. You're doing 1,000% bigger numbers. So get that pen and paper ready. Let's go over the big monies I can get for you across the board. You're going to reach out to different places with different eligibility. Don't take yourself out of the equation. Apply, apply. Don't ever say, I wonder if I qualify. Just apply. Here you go. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city housing authority, your county hall, your county housing authority, your state hall, your state housing authority. The keywords you're just going to say, and viewers have been saying to me, LALATE, thank you for those keywords. It's making the big difference. Keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, rent assistance, mortgage assistance, or utility assistance because of COVID. You don't say words they don't know, like stimulus, or Mitch's fabulous appearance once on Star Search. They don't know that. They don't want to know that. No one wants to see the video of that. Their ears don't want to hear it either. So there you go. And congratulations to Tim and Linda who got this wonderful pot of money. The next pot of the money is SNAP. And John got $10,000 to $12,000 for it. It's wonderful. Gail got it. Lynn Glenn got it for herself, her son, and mom. What is SNAP? It's money for food. How do you get it? Department of Agriculture. Reach out to them. How much does it pay? A fortune. A family of four in Hawaii gets upwards of $16,000 a year. Wow. Why so much money? Because of two wonderful executive orders. One from Biden, one from Trump that raise your benefits up 15% between now and December. So go get it. You're killing it. $15,000 for SNAP for family for Hawaii, $5,000 for rent. If you got rent or SNAP, post it in the live chat. If you got utilities, post it right now. It's important to post it in the live chat. I'll tell you why. 3 reasons. 1, if someone's watching and is unsure whether they should even try to do it, and then they start to see all the people posting it, then they realize, I can go do it. They got it. Second, if they see someone posting multiple items, like Art Sullivan, who got 3, and they only got 1, then they realize, wait a second, I forgot to get those other items. And number 3, it updates us all about the price tags and also tells us when money's coming. And the next pot of money is the refund check from your states due to overpayment of a computer error for unemployment benefits. One viewer got $3,000 and another viewer got 5. Where is it landing? Direct deposit. Can you track it? Yeah, call up your state and say, hey, state, where's that check due to overpayment of computer error? And can you track it with a computer that actually works? And the last part of the money is the refund check from IRS for the unemployment benefits. Now, Margaret reports she got it, and Cog got it, and Michael got it, but IRS gave us an update. And that update is the following: that if you haven't gotten it, another round of checks just went out. The average amount, $1,265. Wow. Direct deposit started July 14th. Mail checks were July 16th, and another round is going out this week as well. They'll continue week to week all throughout the summer. How much, where, and when is the landing? Let's go over the details. Let's say it's $9,000 of total unemployment benefits. You pay $5,000 of taxes, of which $4,000 was your taxes on unemployment benefits. Congratulations, you're getting back $4,000. Where? Direct deposit, otherwise in the mail. When? This month. Can you track it? Sure. Go to irs.gov, do a transcript search. It'll reveal stuff you never knew. It'll reveal stuff you didn't want to know. It'll reveal stuff you don't want people to see. It'll reveal the tax return you filed, the taxes you're paying. It'll reveal what was Mitch's competition song when he sung on Star Search. And it'll reveal the tax return check you got. Can we top that? We can, as we now have an agreement on your recon price tag. Deal. Done. The first and most important thing they had to agree upon, a deal done in the recon, your money, is the price tag. $3.5 trillion. Deal. Wow. They don't have to vote on it. They do it by Congressional Senate Democrats meeting, and they met. And they said, deal, $3.5 trillion. Wow. Now that's incredible, great news. Who proclaimed a success? Bernie Sanders. He called it a historic day for the American people because it's $3.5 trillion of checks for you in there. And just like how under second stimulus, when it passed and had a $600 stimulus check, I said, I'm going to get you $6,000. Well, I got viewers $15,000. When third stimulus passed, I said, there's a $1,400 stimulus check. I'm going to get you $14,000. Well, now I'm getting $23,000 for viewers. And now that there's $3.5 trillion of checks in the fourth stimulus, I'm going to get you every penny of check that I can. So let's go over how we got to this point and understand where things are. We originally had this recon that was enormous, that had roads and bridges in there. And it was not passable because roads and bridges are in there. So they take the roads and bridges out, put it into something called the bipartisan or the infrastructure, and that shrunk the recon. That made the recon then passable. We had that confirmation from a conservative publication written before this agreement about the $3.5 trillion. The higher the price tag was before on the recon, the harder it was to pass. There you go, confirmation. But by allowing the Democrats to take out some of the spending from the recon, roads and bridges, and put in the bipartisan, the overall price tag of the recon got smaller, obviously. In other words, the bipartisan deal made the recon passable. Sorry to set you up, Mitch. Now, life has really changed in 1 week because the second part of this article really originally talked about how the GOP should not accept the bipartisan, how Mitch should reject it, how the GOP should reject it. But that's all changed because the GOP loves the bipartisan and the infrastructure. They love it, and so does Mitch. Now, what's important for you to understand for the first time ever on Noontime LA is that much like a nightclub that changes names every week, nightclub that changes names, or a pop singer group that always changes their names, these two items keep on changing their names. You've heard them on the channel as Recon and Bipartisan. Unfortunately, there's other names out there. So I want to go over those other names so you know which one is which. Recon, your money, also called reconciliation, also called the budget bill. The way you recognize it, the price tag, $3.5 trillion. People usually quote it in articles about it. Bernie Sanders. The bipartisan, not your money. This is roads and bridges. It's also called the infrastructure. Price tag, much smaller, $1.5 trillion. Who's often quoted in articles about it? Mitt Romney or Kristen Sinema. Now that the recon was shrunk, the progressives were able to put things in there to make it big enough and bold enough. And this was before the $3.5 trillion. They got exactly what they wanted. As Representative Ilhan Omar said, we have a commitment that regardless of what happens to the bipartisan, that the recon goes as big as bold as we want. Well, it did for Omar. She got $3.5 trillion. Representative Rishi Torres said that he was not going to vote in favor of the bipartisan unless the recon was big enough. Well, he got what he wanted, $3.5 trillion recon. And then the progressives were meeting with the president daily about that recon, and they got what they want, $3.5 trillion. More about that $3.5 trillion later in this video. But what's important for you to understand at this point is what a reconciliation is and how it goes to the finish line. A reconciliation is a bill. It's called reconciliation. In this case, it's written by Democrats for Democrats to be passed by Democrats. The GOP have nothing to do with the writing or the passing of it. The reconciliation is written in different subject matters. Those subject matters are dedicated and delegated to different subcommittees of the House of Representatives. Under the Constitution, different House of Representative subdivisions are responsible for different subject matters. The subcommittee, House Ways and Means, is responsible under the Constitution for writing about stimulus and unemployment benefits, and that's what they write about. They write about with the Senate subcommittees also helping them along the way. Now, here's what's important for you to know, is that under the Constitution, there's no requirement of transparency. They don't have to show you what they're writing. They have to show you what they're drafting, adding, taking out, voting on, or voting against. They don't have to show you. In fact, you will not see what they're doing across the board unless they show it. If they don't want to, they don't have to. It's sort of like a pop singer who has an album coming out. She does not have to show you what's on that album until she releases it. And here's what you need to know, is that broadcast media is very aware of the situation as well, mainstream media, as I am. So mainstream media's take on the subject matter, we haven't seen the recon. In fact, we won't see the recon until it's ready for a vote. And that's my messaging as well. So, no time or place for you to say, I haven't heard of anything in the recon about. Guess what? No one has seen the recon. No have you. So you're not anything special. No one has seen it. But ironically, someone by the name of me has some of the details for you leaked later in this video. But no, you should not have seen it. So that's why you don't know what's in there. But we have indication of what they want to put in there because Jalopal and also Brian Schatz had been protecting it for weeks. The White House had told them to protect it because of the progressive priorities that are in that recon. And those progressive priorities are the White House's priorities. They said so clearly. So how do we get to this wonderful spot? We got to this wonderful spot by Jalopal, who had written Schumer a letter saying, Chuck, call the vote. That letter was signed by 12 House Democrats, part of the 100 plus. Yes, 100, who had written the president a letter saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. Can we top that? We can. As 7 members of that House Ways and Means Committee wrote the president a letter recently saying, we're going to be putting monthly stimulus checks in the fourth stimulus package. Wow. So that's that same subcommittee that writes the stimulus section where they're saying they're putting monthly stimulus checks in there. Boy, we got to keep them to their promise, Purple Power. Can we top that? We can. They also say they're doing a 5th stimulus check. It's coming up later in this video. And yes, we can top that on top as well. It's done. The president has confirmed the International Corporate Tax Rate Minimum Agreement is now law. 3 weeks ago, upwards of 4 weeks ago, actually now, you had seen the president overseas for a ceremonial signature. That's not the formal thing. That happened this week. The president signed into law formally the International Corporate Tax Rate Minimum. If that sounds confusing for me to say, it is. It's sort of a long thing to say. And guess what? It makes for stimulus easier to pass because you don't have to put it in there. How difficult it is to say. Imagine how difficult it is to write it. Let's go over why this is such great news. One, they don't have to write about it and put it in there, making it easier to write the fourth stimulus recon. Number 2, easier to call the vote on the recon because they don't have to put it in there. 3, easier to vote on it because they don't have to put it in there. And easier to pass it with a positive vote of passing and approval because it's not in there. Wow, can we top that? We can. In the final 15 of this video, that final big 15, you have a lot of breaking news coming from me to you in that recording. We're going to go over the 2 items happening next week. We'll be going over the differences of bills versus drafts. We'll be going over the vote, the dates, why everything is going to ramp up so quickly in the next 48 hours, what's going to happen in the next 7 days. And you're going to learn how everything is coming to a finality very quickly. You're going to see the bill, the vote, the dates, and everything across the board. We're also going to see a preview of fifth stimulus, which raises your benefits up with a new benchmark of inflation. But is there something more wonderful than that? Yes, the volunteers. If you've had problems finding rent, utilities, internet, homeowners assistance, mortgage, utilities, reach out to the volunteers. They have your back, like I have your back. Where do you find them? Open the description of this video. Go down the description. You'll see the volunteers. They're separated from Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. Reach out to them. That link will send, you'll see an emoji of a house. That link will send you over to the community page, news.la.com/community. Reach out to them and they'll help you get that big money. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds with a huge breaking news you absolutely have to hear, the final 15 that goes over what's happening this week in your fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues right now live from Santa Monica on Noontime LALATE. It's a big day with a lot of breaking news, and I'll be back with you all throughout the day with a lot of new breaking details. Afternoons LA coming up at 3 o'clock, then evenings LA at 5 o'clock, then overnight scripted with a new show. So subscribe. 400,000 subscribers, a YouTube record. I want you part of this family. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video, 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like helps. It also delivers a side of garlic. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the chat and pinned comment. Boy, so much exciting details. And what's important is that you're going to be informed going into this new week more than anyone else. Coming up in a second is that final 15. But first, let's go over one thing. The president had promised during the campaign trail that he was going to give you SS200, that raise of your benefits for Social Security all the way up to VA. He didn't do it. And then during the transition time, he didn't do it again. So congressional leaders cited his promises and came up with their proposal, which mirrors his, saying, we're going to do it because you promised it. Benefit limits will be raised up, then they'll remove the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. This is insanely great news because it pays you a fortune. First, how does this work? First, it'll raise your benefits up lifetime with one big lift under fifth stimulus. Who? You. SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, SSA, or multiple beneficiaries. Then they'll apply a new benchmark. The new benchmark is inflation. This benefits this stimulus will go to about October-ish, so the benchmark will be applied around November for next year. Well, that new benchmark will be inflation. And Jay Powell, head of the Federal Reserve, testified on Capitol Hill this week and said, Yes, the same thing he said last month, that inflation is still going up, and it's going to go up to a very big peak around December before it goes down. It's a temporary, or what he calls transitory peak. Wonderful news. So first, your benefits will be raised up a lifetime, and then they'll apply a benchmark. That benchmark will lift you up an additional amount. How much? I've been saying 5% inflation. And what did Wall Street say this week? 5% as well. Wow. Your benefits will be raised up not just 5% next year, but lifetime. Because once your benefits step up, they never step down. If the inflation rate the year after that is 1%, then your benefits will be at +1, +5%. That's incredible, great news. Then they're going to remove the asset cap, dating back to a 1960s law, 80s law that says you can't have more than $3,000 in hand. Now you'll be able to have a Crayola pink crayon in your pocket, and also some stimulus checks. The income cap is going to go away. So if you want to work, you'll be able to work and still stay on benefits. And the marriage penalty is going to end. Love is going to win, and you'll be able to marry your longtime love interest. No longer fear loss of benefits, and you'll be able to get married. Viewers like Rob and Sandy will no longer fear the marriage penalty. And there you go. That's fifth stimulus. Now, also fifth stimulus? Yes, another stimulus check. Those Democratic House Ways and Means Committee members represent they're going to put another fifth stimulus check in there. That would be next year, wouldn't overlap with fourth. And finally, the president has dedicated more money to Social Security Administration. But another message, if you're missing a first, second, or third stimulus check, you need to do two things. You need to file that tax return and request it on the tax return. Absolutely required under the IRS code. So there you go. Wow. Are you ready? I'm ready. The final 15 on LALATE starts right here, right now, with the big breaking news of the final 15 minutes of this video. So here you go. This week will be a big week. I'm going to go over first the recon, then the bipartisan, and then back over to the recon. The recon deal. Price tag deal. Huge. I'm going to go over why it's a big deal and why the price is a big deal. First, Senate Democrats have met and they have agreed. They've voted among themselves. There's a price tag agreement. $3.5 trillion of checks for you. Now, why is this great news? Number one, from the recon creation, the first step is really getting the price tag agreed upon. After that, it's easy to slide all the provisions and the price tags into everything that have already been written, as Tim Kaine reports, Senator Tim Kaine. Number two, the agreement was a historic agreement because it brought all parts of the Democratic Party together. Democrats that are moderates were ecstatic, the progressives were ecstatic. The second thing that's big to know about the $3.5 trillion is the price. It's huge. Bernie Sanders went into the meetings asking for $7 trillion, he confirms, but he said he agreed to 3.5 because it covers all his social welfare checks that he wants to get to you just for less years of it. And he'll do another round at another time. Wow. Now, this is wonderful news. The understanding from the description from Bernie is the following, that this $3.5 trillion of checks for the American people is a historic day in our nation. Fortunes of checks will be going out to people of all different walks of life under this fourth stimulus recon. So let's go over what they are. Now, here's what I said earlier in this video, which is, subcommittees are not responsible under the Constitution to tell you what they have in the recon, and that ultimately they've made promises to us that there are multiple stimulus checks in there. But we don't know what's in there until it becomes a bill, and it could still get modified. But, in a strange twist, a conservative publication claims to have gotten some of the provisions from the fourth stimulus recon and ran an article, which was basically an article about why it's bad for the American budget. But it's not an exhaustive list. It's not all the items. It's just some of the items, and you're going to see them only on this channel right now. There are checks for free school meals for all, checks for tax breaks, checks for prescription medication, checks for immigration reform, checks for farming, checks for elections, checks for free internet. They're going to give fortunes of free internet to local cities so they can run their own internet companies for free and give you free internet. Checks for clean energy. checks for workers, checks for independent contractors, checks for seniors, checks for eligibility, checks for dental, checks for vision, and checks for hearing are among the countless checks in there. Wow. $3.5 trillion of checks for you. Now, let's cut over to the bipartisan. Remember, bipartisan is not you. It's roads and bridges. But when they get the bipartisan done is important for you. Why? They have to call the vote on the recon before the bipartisan, but enough Democrats have said, yeah, but you have to have the bipartisan done. So we can't have the bipartisan done, next year. We got to get it done right shortly after you call the vote on the recon. Well, those bipartisan members said last Thursday that they think they can get those deal items tentatively agreed upon. And that once those deal items are tentatively agreed upon, they can just slot it into a bill and write it up in bill format. And they think they can get the vote done on the bipartisan this week. Wow. Now, do I agree? No, I don't. Main Street Media and myself both think that the bipartisan bill and the vote won't be till next week. But this is great news. Why is this great news? Because remember, the recon has to go for a vote first before the bipartisan. So the recon's vote could be as early as this week. Wow. Now that's incredible great news. Now, here's what you need to know is that all the Republicans are very excited about the bipartisan. Mitt Romney, former head of Bain Capital, says that he thinks it's going to get done very quickly. If you've been with this channel for a while, I've made a lot of jokes about the Romney plan because there's always a Romney plan about everything. There's a Romney plan about the surfboard. There's a Romney plan about the flowers. There's a Romney plan about everything. But one thing that Mitt Romney does well is he moves very quickly. He moves quickly. And in second stimulus, he moved very quickly to get it done. Next week, the Congressional Budget Office, CBO, a nonpartisan organization of the federal government, will release its scorecard on the roads and bridges, the infrastructure. It's likely to be a bad scorecard. It's likely to say something along the lines as it increases the national debt. Romney's already spoken out as a former finance guy, and he says he's not worried about it. He thinks that the Republicans will still like it. Now, here's what you need to know. This Tuesday, there's going to be a vote. And there's a reason why you're a Purple Power member. There's a reason why you're a subscriber. Because things sometimes get confusing unless they're explained. And I'm going to explain this one to you right now, so you know the answer. On Tuesday, Chuck Schumer will call the vote on the ending of discussion and debate for the bipartisan. Notice how I phrase that? It's the ending of discussion and negotiations and debate on the bipartisan. Not necessarily the day of the vote, but sometime in the immediate future, in the next day or two. He's basically saying, zip it. You're going to zip it in a day or two from now. You're going to zip it, and otherwise I won't hear anything else from you. Now, it's important for you to know that that is not a vote on the bipartisan bill. It's just a vote on ending discussion on the bill. The reason? To rush them to get the bill ready and to call it for a vote quickly. Will the vote by Chuck to end discussion about the bipartisan pass? No, it will not. And what is he doing on Wednesday? He's doing some stuff with recon, but it's not a vote. Which brings me back to recon. This is great news because this sets up recon to potentially go for a vote as early as this week. Now, here's what you need to know, is that I fully, 100% predict that come this Tuesday, there will be some people who don't want to take the time to watch a video. They don't want to take the time to become a subscriber or a member, and will jump into the chat and say, they're voting on Tuesday on the stimulus check. I didn't hear it in there. Or they're voting Tuesday on the recon and it failed. Or they voted Tuesday on the bipartisan bill and it failed. None of those things are happening on Tuesday. None of those things are happening on Tuesday. People hear the word vote and they hear a thing and they think it's that and it's not the right thing. And then they suddenly think they have some great sum of information that none of us have seen anywhere but them. They're wrong. And so ultimately, if you see that they're wrong and you see them in the chat, tell them, no, politely, you're wrong. That's not what's happening on Tuesday. But needless to say, it's often not their fault because broadcast media is butchering it. On Friday, I watched one of my favorite broadcast channels, and they butchered the two bills, saying one when it was the other and the other one was this one. Very, very bad reporting. Now, here's what you need to know. There's 12 voting steps. Does not take 12 days, but they got to get it done. 4 steps for 3 bills. We have recon procedural, recon substantive, and bipartisan. Step 1, Senate subcommittee. Step 2, Senate floor, House and President. They got to do that. Moreover, I want you to be laser focus on the following, that when we look at the final 14 days from now, it's a very, very critical 14 days. In fall of 2020, we were sitting back wondering, are they ever going to get this second stimulus to be done? We've been hearing from it since May, and it's almost November. I had my hands up. I said, you know what? There's this thing called continuing resolution. Let's put a stimulus check in there. People thought I was crazy. The trash talking started. The trolls appeared. Say you can't have a stimulus check and a continuing resolution. It's run the government. I said, I don't care. We're going to put it in there. And I said, let's put it in there. Came from me. My idea, and I said, push. And you pushed, Purple Power. And they heard us, and they saw it, and they changed. They started to put stimulus in there. We woke up one morning and said, yes, we got it, we won. We got stimulus in there. And then we realized which stimulus it was. They put in unemployment stimulus, not a stimulus check. Hold up, that's wrong. Now, we didn't give up. We didn't say, we're over. They didn't take care of us. They don't care. We didn't do anything negative. We pushed back, and we said, put a stimulus check in there. And over the next 4 days, the news cycle changed by the hour. We had some days where the check went out, some days where the check went really high to the roof, some days where the eligibility changed on the check. Then we had some days, I can even remember where I was when it happened, where we heard from Senator Toomey, who said he's going to blow up the whole package. It wasn't going to pass. He was going to block it all. That's how you have to keep pushing in those final 14 days. When we eventually see the recon, it's important to push back because things always get modified even while they're voting. Whatever comes out of those subcommittees is not the final item. As WR did on this channel, picked up his phone and called his congressional leader. He is Senator Chris Coons, Democrat, Delaware. Specter spoke to his secretary and said, this is why we need a stimulus check. This is why I need a stimulus check. This is what I want, and this is what I need because of my scenario, whatever it was, and expressed professionally what his need is across the board. He didn't call up Senator Coons and say what one viewer in the live chat said before the commercial break. When are the checks going to be delivered? No, that gets no one any sum of money. Sitting back and saying donut sentences like that gets you nothing. Remember, you got $3.5 trillion of checks for the American people, but you also got Democrats with different pet projects, and each wants their own slice of the pie for their project. You have to push to ensure that there's enough of checks for different things that we need. And there may be some things that I don't even cover in the video. You may want the extension of unemployment benefits, which I didn't cover, or student loan debt forgiveness, mortgage forbearance, eviction moratorium. You need to push to get those things in there. They need to hear from you because they want to hear from you. And across the board, you have to stay positive. But I got to tell you, Tuesday and Wednesday this week will literally be fake narrative, confused people, a rama. You're going to have people coming in and say, I saw Chuck call a vote on, and then the whole rest of the sentence will be all wrong. Saw Chuck call a vote on, and the whole rest of the sentence will be all wrong. And then they'll say, and it didn't have, and that will be wrong. And then the other part of the sentence will be, and it didn't pass. Well, that part will be right. It didn't pass. But then they'll say, and so you're not getting anything because it didn't pass. Oh my goodness. Can you please step back a step? If you don't want to know what's going on, then you don't want to know it. But if you do want to know it, it takes a little bit of time to know it. And if you know the answer, tell them. It'll help across the board. And guess what? I'm back with you on Afternoons LA and Evenings LA with new shows tonight to explain more about what's going on this week. It's going to be a very, very eventful week. So with that, subscribe. A 400,000 subscribers a YouTube record. I want you part of this channel. Hit that subscribe button right now. Like the video. 2,000-3,000 likes. Every like helps. It also delivers highlight reels from Mitch's time on Star Search. And consider becoming a member. The link's at the top of the channel, pin comment, so you learn daily from me the big money you can get under third stimulus. I deliver it directly from the YouTube community page. Stay informed, stay focused, have a beautiful afternoon. I'll see you on Afternoons LALATE.